Now, often when I'm practicing, and I'm not talking about warming up, I'm talking about practicing and using the etudes and the studies from Clark, I always want to go back to the lowest register. It's very important to understand that the cornet resonates best in the low and middle register. The higher you go, the more effort you have to put into playing the notes, and the more strained it always is. The less enjoyment. And the solo hornist in the Philadelphia Orchestra, Mr. Mason Jones, said to me once in 1976, he said, "Richard, don't try to play too high on the trumpet. It sounds best in the middle range." And he was right. This was an extremely successful hornist who played in the Philadelphia Orchestra. Very, very important to understand that his experience and what he was trying to do was trying to be generous to me. It's about generosity between colleagues and also between students. If you're a student and you're studying with somebody else, then help him by being supportive. Make positive suggestions. If your colleague will listen. Trumpeters are notoriously very competitive, which destroys their ability to learn. The more you compete with somebody else, the more you're concerned only about yourself. The more you cooperate and are consistent about supporting that other person to give them positive impulses, even compliments. Spending time just to listen to them play without thinking, oh, I could do that better myself. The more you're going to learn for your own playing. Because teaching is the best way to learn. The more you help someone else, the more you're really helping yourself. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this debutante because I just like the piece, or maybe I could move to something from, here's something that's more interesting for you. From a series of MMO, Music Minus One, books and music that I did, in about 2005. This is a piece from Herbert Clark, the very first piece I ever played in public. And I wrote the preface for this and talk about how to practice and play this. You can buy this with accompaniment from Music Minus One. Here it is, Stars in a Velvety Sky, written by Herbert L. Clark. Played this when I was a little boy, 11 years old, on this cornet. Now, what's important, please, is to listen to the contour beyond the music for the people that are learning to play. First of all, the big breath. Then release the air. Now, every movement that I made going up, I made a crescendo, and going down a diminuendo. You can see when I play it faster, you don't really understand it so much. But the slower that I play, the more obvious it is. Also in the other intervals earlier in this cadenza. So it's important for you to understand that this technique is consistent all the time. It is really the key to playing with more endurance, more tonal quality, more musical expression, more dynamic contour that brings the music to life. The main theme is I haven't played this in many, many years, but you can hear it's always the same crescendo and diminuendo. Whenever I have problems with a passage, it's mostly because I'm trying to play it faster than I can apply these principles and hear the music in advance. But for the sake of demonstrating in music how this principle works, I'm still going to go on at the risk of even playing some wrong notes. I'm not really too concerned about that. Going on here, Mike. So it's as if I'm putting an accent on this A and an accent on this G and an accent on this F. So starting here. Then the notes come. Simple as that. Everybody says, oh, wow, this is magic. No, this is logic. And it has only to do with the equilibrium, the pressure from inside and the pressure from outside. This next section is more lyrical and sustained, but it's the same principle, crescendo and diminuendo. Exactly the same principle. There's a section here with the famous triple tonguing of the time. In the 19th and early 20th century, the cornet soloist was more or less, it was required for them to play multiple tonguing sections to amaze the young public by saying syllables on the same frequency, tataka or takata. Taka 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 taka. That's the French technique, or the German or English technique. Tataka 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 more as a stutter technique. Tataka, tataka or takata. Really, nothing really very special, but it has a certain technique, sort of. So now, in this same offering from MMO, concert pieces for the cornet or trumpet and concert band, there is the piece, the famous Fantasy and Variations on the Carnival of Venice. For this specific piece, I'm going to take a complete YouTube 15 minutes to explain how I approach this piece and explain to you where the original cadenzas came. These are original R-band cadenzas that are printed in no other music, no other editions, but the original R-band etudes, not etudes, but cadenzas. And I will explain to you where they came from and how simple that I came to discover them and apply them to this very special Carnival of Venice, his version of the Carnival of Venice, which so many people have made famous, from Herbert L. Clarke to Wynton Marsalis. He brought a whole CD out called Carnival, where he played the Jean-Baptiste R-band Carnival of Venice. And yeah, and maybe then look into Mr. R-band's book himself, Jean-Baptiste R-band, the solo cornetist from France, from the 19th century, Paris. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again with the man with the horns, cornet, and the next time will be Fantasy and Variations on the Carnival of Venice. Bye.